Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Jess. So Bitcoin has recovered from its recent crash to $9,000, but the high time frame charts are still showing signs of weakness. We're going to dive into the video today to talk about what exactly Bitcoin needs to do to re-enter price discovery, as well as the potential here for a short-term correction over the weekend. Before we get into all that though, make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. If you're after even more content, be sure to check out my free Telegram channel, and if you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. Okay, so diving into the charts here, let's have a quick chat about what on earth has happened with Bitcoin in the last couple of days before we dive into our analysis. So if you guys missed it, Bitcoin has had, a little bit of a crash lately, right? We topped out at $99,000 and then we saw quite a rapid correction all the way back down to retest 91,000. It was a pretty big drop, I think over 7% within 3 days. But since then, if you guys watched my last video, we have bounced and it played out pretty much exactly as we talked about, guys. We broke out of this sort of, bullish reversal structure over here and exhibited that entire measured move, taking us right into this next level of resistance at $98.5 thousand. However, as we've sort of entered this period of price action after the crash, things have been slowing down a little bit. If we take a look at CoinGlass, for example, we can see overall volume is down, 24-hour liquidations is down. If we take a look at the liquidation chart over here as well, things are, quite small, right? So the market's sort of approaching this sort of period of indecision, and particularly in regards to Bitcoin. Now, as we approach $98,000 once again, the question comes out, but what do we need to see to signal a break above this level of resistance here and to re-enter price discovery above 99.6? And what are the warning signs here that at this level of resistance, in this sort of period of indecision, we're going to be experiencing another breakdown and another retest of this lower level, or how low is that correction going to go? So let's dive into the video today, talk about that, starting off with high time frame analysis and then moving into the short time frame charts. Before we get into the rest of the video, guys, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor, BTC.D, where you can get 15% off all of your trading fees and up to $5,500 in sign-up rewards when you create your free account using the link down in my description box. BTC.D is an emerging cryptocurrency exchange committed to providing you with a secure, convenient, and highly functional trading and investment platform. Available across all countries as a non-KYC exchange, get global access to over 150 trading pairs with minimal fees on both spot and futures contracts. Join today to get $5,500 in sign-up rewards and get 15% off all of your trading fees by signing up using the link in my bio or by using the code 1GG3 when you create your account. So taking a look at the daily time frame here, guys, moving into that sort of correction, one of the largest warning signs that we had were here on the daily time frame, and namely the bearish divergence that we could see here on the RSI. So across these two peaks at 90 to 92,000 and 99.6,000, we had decreasing momentum, right? So the buyers were exhausting as we were seeing increasing selling pressure, right, as the price traveled upwards. So at that last peak there, finally topping out at 99.6K, we ended up seeing that correction over here. And while we've bounced, that bearish divergence is still very much present, right? The downtrend that we've seen carried throughout that bearish divergence is still there. And we can see it a lot better on the 4-hour time frame. So if we go over here, we can see that that trend line was retested in that recent recovery to 98.5 thousand. And in rejecting off that and essentially showing us that we weren't able to flip momentum to the positive yet on a high time frame, we're going to continue to fail to break above that 98.5 to 99K resistance and break back into price discovery. So if you're looking for a sign that we're going to be seeing enough strength to finally do that, that next retest of this lower trend line here on the RSI needs to see a breakout on a 4-hour time frame to confirm that we're seeing enough of a momentum shift to push us back into those upper levels. Zooming into the hourly chart, let's really quickly talk about our key short time frame trigger levels. So the main level of support that we have established right now on the hourly chart is this one over here at $95,000. It was a key level of resistance in that prior broadening descending wedge structure, and in breaking above it and successfully establishing a support resistance flip, we were able to facilitate a continuation to that sort sort of resistance here at $98,000. So that is currently the key level of support and also key bearish trigger level. We're in closing below here at 94.7, the base of that support on an hourly time frame. We can expect a continuation into this range here, ranging all the way down to 91K. So above that, we have our next key level of short time frame support, very recently established here at 96.7 to 97.2. And as we can see, we are currently retesting at that level of support. So while we hold support, there is a probability that we bounce on support to retest 98.5, and that is potentially where we see that 4-hour downtrend on the RSI break, facilitating a move above the range high. So of course, after this level of resistance, we have 99.6, the final level that will trigger a bullish continuation into price discovery, that sort of upper range over there. Now, if we take a look at probabilities, we have a structure developing here on the hourly chart that has just been broken down from. So that sort of uptrend that we were in after the breakout and our uptrending resistances over here has mapped out an ascending wedge structure. Now, this is a bearish structure. It is essentially, telling us there is a high probability at this stage of seeing a bearish breakdown in breaking below our lower uptrend over here, which we can see here on the hourly chart we have just done. So there's 21 minutes left to the hourly candle close. It's not looking too great right now. We are very clearly below the trend line. We might, recover in time for the close. But also we do have this sort of horizontal range of support as well. So that will be the short time frame trigger level. If we fall below the structure and we fall below horizontal support, it is more likely then that we see a move to break below the other levels of support we have here at 95,000 and fulfill that measured move in the breakdown, taking us very well into this range here at $92,500. That is the measured move. So it does look like right now on the short time frame, we have a higher probability of seeing a correction over the weekend as opposed to a break above resistance here, especially if we take a look at RSI. We have confirmation or leading confirmation here that we are potentially losing at this uptrend here in the ascending wedge structure. We have bleeding breakdown here on the RSI. So right now, honestly, the price action isn't doing all that much, right? We are consolidating within our range high or our local top here at $99,000, and these sort of levels of support that we are establishing as we sort of, consolidate, right? And I think it's honestly really, really important that Bitcoin does this, because while it is sort of, less exciting that Bitcoin's not, continually blasting through all new all-time highs and, so on and so forth, and doing very exciting bull market things, this sort of consolidation is really important. We need to be able to see that it wants to hold these sort of ranges and these levels of support established here in order to actually facilitate a bullish continuation. And if we take a look at that sort of measured move down to $92,500, potentially the sort of consolidation pattern that Bitcoin is forming here on a higher time frame chart is a bullish one, right? If we take a look at the prior highs here, we've got higher highs on the high time frame, and if we end up fulfilling that measured move to 92.5, that is once again another higher high. Potentially at that level we find support, go on to retest 98.5, and that's where we break out. Or we could continue to establish those higher highs, slowly absorb this sell wall in a bullish ascending triangle structure, right? That is a bullish structure, and in that case, we can sort of then use that, shorter time frame consolidation to predict the measured move in breaking above 98.6. So even though the price action is a little bit boring on Bitcoin right now, it is good to see that the price is consolidating, and we are on a high time frame still holding those levels of support that we've established along the way up in the last 2 weeks, and that is really, really good to see, and still very bullish on the high time frame charts. Now, the sideways chop that we're seeing from Bitcoin is not only good for Bitcoin in the long run, but it's also really, really good for altcoins, because it's providing an opportunity for money to rotate outside of Bitcoin and into altcoins. And that's exciting, because if we take a look at Bitcoin dominance here, we can see that we have finally started to retest and break below a 2-year-long uptrend in Bitcoin dominance. And in breaking below this uptrend here, we can expect a further decrease in Bitcoin dominance, and thereby facilitating a really strong altcoin season. Now, if we take a look at this in conjunction to total 3, we can see that the weekly candle, which is about 2 days away from closing, is currently above the final level of horizontal historical resistance we've established here at $960,000, is it? Let me check. $953 billion, right? And that, particularly after closing above this prior dead cat bounce level, continues to increase the probability of seeing a retest and break above 1.13 trillion, which is huge for altcoins. Now, before I wrap up the video, I really quickly want to address a misconception here that I've been seeing about Bitcoin dominance, and that when Bitcoin dominance starts to rotate downwards, it is time to sell your Bitcoin because it is topping. I don't really know where that came from, to be honest, but it's just not really true. The only thing that this really signals is that when we see this rotation, or begin to see that rotation and a decrease in Bitcoin dominance, that altcoins have a higher probability to outperform Bitcoin, particularly after this sort of consolidation phase and Bitcoin starts to go up once again as well. But that does not necessarily mean that you have to sell your Bitcoin and that it's topping out here and it's not going to do well. That's just a misconception. I don't know where it came from. And it also doesn't mean that all altcoins are going to do well. There is still a degree of risk attached to every single altcoin, and not every single one of them is going to outperform Bitcoin. Some of them might even do a little bit worse. That is, again, up to the altcoin and up to how their own chart looks and how their own white paper, circulating supply, etc., looks individually. Anyways, that is everything that I have to say today. I'm going to wrap up the analysis there. Alrighty guys, that is all the analysis that I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video or you learned something, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're after even more content, be sure to check out my free Telegram for daily updates as well as crypto and economic news. And if you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. And if you are a trader, don't forget to sign up down below to BitUnext to get 15% off all of your trading fees. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.